Well, they always say you see something different every time you go out to the ballpark, and this time it was backswing interference. Didn't cost the Brewers the game, but it made things interesting. I know some people think, yeah, it did, but really did it? We'll get to all that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Brewers lost 1-0 on Monday night to the Tampa Bay Rays. 1-0. They had 3 hits in the game. And what everybody's talking about is what happened in the bottom half of the 9th inning. We're going to get to that coming up next. Murphy got ejected. Just a lot of chaos there in the bottom half of the 9th inning. Like I said, you learn something new every time you go to the ballpark. But there were some bright spots, I thought. One bright spot at least came out of that game. We'll get to that coming up next year on Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Chuck Freeman here, Locked On Brewers. Great to have you with me. Longtime sportscaster here in the state of Wisconsin. And you get us on Google, Spotify, Apple. We're on all the major downloads, wherever you download your podcast. I saw today there were countries, 15, 16 different countries that downloaded this podcast on Sunday night, Monday morning. 16 different. United States leading the way, but 15 other countries. Just amazing. You just never know where this podcast is going to be heard, but it's heard all over the world, and that's great to hear. Also on YouTube, search Locked On Brewers on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That'll alert you every time we drop an episode. And by all means, hit the bookmark or wherever on your podcast to get Locked On Brewers, because we're here talking Brewers baseball with you during the week, covering games on weekends as well, talking Brewers baseball right now. Call it you what you want, a funk, snake bit, I don't know. I don't like using some of those terms. Well, funk I can. Snake bit, I don't know. We're going to get to this coming up here. The Brewers lost 1-0. Okay, we'll get to the elephant in the room. Bottom half of the 9th inning, Jake Bauers at the plate. Runners at second and third, 1 out. He swings at a pitch in the dirt. His follow-through hits the catcher in the helmet. The ball goes dribbling in back of the catcher. Frelick comes in from third base. And you're thinking, tie game. Not so fast, as Lee Corso would say. No, runners go back to third. Adames goes back to second. Frelick goes back to third. And it's a strikeout on Bauers. Now, here's what happens. And the base was open at first base. So you're thinking, okay, first base, just wild. It's something you never, again, it's just the rules are odd. They're complicated sometimes. I guess that's a better word. It was called backswing interference because Bauers, on his backswing, the lefty, hit the catcher's helmet. Now, the rule is, and this is the rule, Kurt Hogue from the Journal Sentinel, he was the pool reporter. So anytime there's some controversy, someone is selected to go down to the locker room and talk to the umpires or whatever. Not everybody can, just one person can question and get a rule interpretation. So Kurt Hogue went down to the locker room, and the first base umpire talked to him and said, the rule reads like this. If a batter strikes at a ball and misses the swing so hard, he carries the bat all the way around, and the umpire's judgment unintentionally hits the catcher or the ball in back of him on the backswing, it'll be called a strike only, not interference. The ball will be dead. Now, the key is the ball is dead. However, no runner should advance. So the ball is considered dead when he strikes the helmet, and no runner should advance. Now, Murphy, who got thrown out on the play, was arguing, according to the first base umpire, that they were arguing a different rule in which interference on a called third strike if the batter or runner clearly hinders the catcher in his attempt to field the ball. that rule apparently doesn't apply here. What it is backswing interference. Complicated, I know. In this case, the runner's got to go back to second and third. And it may look like the Brewers got screwed. And Murphy was explaining he thought that since the ball was behind the catcher already, when Bowers had hit the helmet, that the run should have scored. I see what he's talking about, but apparently he's arguing some different rule there. So, and I know Twitter was going full blast that Brewers got screwed by Major League Baseball again, the home plate umpire. Well, they got screwed on Sunday, it sounds like, with the Aaron Judge play, but not this one. The umpires were insistent that they got it right. Now, we'll see tomorrow. Major League Baseball, the day after, always reviews these things, and they may come out with something different. But as of now, backswing interference, it's a loss for the Brewers, 1-0. Okay, we can argue that for whatever. I was getting texts left and right on my phone. Guys who were in bars watching the game with the sound down and had no idea what was going on. Okay, so this is, and I was watching it on TV. I did not cover the game. I was home watching the game, and they explained it great. Vinny Rottino on the post-game show broke it down. He's a smart guy, and you always get it. He knows what's going on. So bottom line is the Brewers lost the game. They had 3 hits. Okay. They're not snake bitten. They might be at a rut. And the old say, well, when you're in a rut, things like this work against you. You make your own breaks, because every team, the Brewers gave up 30 runs combined in the previous 2 games. Gave up 1 on Monday night. I'm encouraged by that. They gave up just 1 run, and we're going to get to that. But not snake bitten. Snake bitten is they scored 3 hits. How many times have the Brewers? And I honestly thought we were done with this. The 1-0 games. I mean, man, what have we had? 3 of those this year already? These 1-0 games, or they can't score, or they've won a 1-0 game this year. I think they've lost 1, or they might have won 2. I think this is their 3rd 1-0 game. I got to look back, but bottom line is they play enough of these kind of games where they can't get out of their own way, and it's just brutal to watch offensively. 3 hits, 3 guys caught stealing as well on the base paths. So I look at it like this. Yeah, you can complain about that rule in the bottom half of the 9th inning, and Bowers, to his credit, his line was, when people were asking about it, and I love it. Jake Bowers, I don't know Jake Bowers, but he's earned my immediate respect because he said, be better. Talking about himself. I shouldn't have swung at the ball in the dirt. What am I doing swinging at the ball in the dirt? Strike 3. I like that. Taking ownership. Not saying, oh, no, it's here we are. We're snake bit right now. No. Caught stealing. 3 guys caught stealing. Bowers swung at a pitch, and he owned it after the game. I like that. I like guys who do that. I really do. But, again, I don't look at that bottom of the 9th inning, and we explain it because that's what everybody's talking about. But 3 hits is the story in this game. 3 hits, and they're in a 3-game slide. Nothing to panic about, but I was encouraged, actually, on one end. And that's Bryce Wilson. We'll talk about that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. FanDuel, America's number one sportsbook. Playoff time in the NBA and NHL. Baseball's in full swing. I hope you didn't take the over. I mean, it would have been easy to take the over, I guess, on Monday night's Brewers game since they had played 3 overs against the Yankees over the weekend. Smashed the over. So you're thinking maybe, the pitching staff is going through a funk right now. The pitching staff, there's that word again. But of course, the under came in handily in a game. But FanDuel, right now, new customers get $150. Bonus bets guaranteed. $150, win or lose. Bet on everything. Slap shots, home runs, slam dunks. All on the app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. What are you waiting for? FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make your first bet an automatic win. with America's #1 sportsbook, and that is FanDuel. We are coming right back. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. Welcome back to Locked On Brewers. Chuck Freeman, your host here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. 3 hits for the Brewers. But on the pitching end, again, you know, it's funny because we talk so much about the pitching, and the pitching was brutal on Saturday and Sunday. But the pitching bounced back. And, man, just talking on the podcast last night, how are they going to fill out this rotation with so many guys down? I think we got our guy, Bryce Wilson. They stretched him out in spring training. Little forethinking there by the Brewers. But I don't think they envisioned him in the starting rotation. Maybe they did. But he went 6 innings last night. You know, he had been going 3 or 4 innings in these spot starts. 6 innings, 4 hits, 6 Ks. Man, stunned me how Bryce Wilson was mowing him down last night. He looked great in the rotation. And he's looked terrific in every time he's made a start so far, whether it be 3 or 4 innings or the 6-inning starts last night. I think we thought ourselves something here with Bryce Wilson. Keep him in that starting rotation. Okay, keep him out there. Obviously, they have no shot. They're going to keep running him out there, but I like it. Bryce Wilson probably in the rotation for the foreseeable future. So he goes 4 hits over 6 innings, 6 Ks on 91 pitches. And then Brian Hudson comes and does his job once again. Brian Hudson, 2 innings, 1 hit. Trevor McGill, again, terrific 1 inning of work. Bullpen bounced back after 2 horrendous days. And Bryce Wilson gave him a big lift. So I'm taking out of this game, not that the Brewers got screwed. They didn't get hosed. Umpires aren't against him. Hey, I think we found ourselves a starter long-term, and that's Bryce Wilson. And I'm happy to see that, because where would they be without Bryce Wilson in this rotation? You got Ross, who's struggling away. Colin Ray automatically becomes the number 2 guy in this rotation with Miley down. Freddie pitches on Tuesday, okay, in this one. But Bryce Wilson adding a starter. And some people have been asking me about it, and I was on a radio show with John Papadopoulos out of La Crosse, and he asked me about when would they consider adding a one or another starter, 1 or 2 starters. Maybe June, July. Teams aren't going to trade their starting pitching before Memorial Day. I think that's always a benchmark in baseball. Teams will look and see, you know, Memorial Day, where are we? Okay, then they start thinking about it a little bit, maybe entertain a few offers. And of course, surely by July, they're trading guys if they're not in it. So, I don't know. The Brewers got to be a contender first. Let's get there first. As I told John, I said, you know, the Brewers need a lot of things. The margin of error is very small for the Brewers. They just have to win games, stay in first place, keep winning games, finding a way to patch things together. Let's get to July 1st. We've played a month of the season. Have we even played a month? Well, we've played a month of the season. The Brewers are 17-11. 6 games over the 500 mark. Considering some of the bizarre things that happened and the injuries and the guys they've lost, I think we'd all take it right now. Maybe they're probably overachieving. Probably a little bit better, considering, you know, no defined closer, no Corbin Burns, losing Wade Miley. You know, they don't have Woodruff. We knew that starting the season. Mitchell is gone. Perkins has stepped up, although he struck out on 3 pitches to end the game with the bases loaded after Reese Hoskins was hit by a pitch after that Bowers incident. And then Perkins struck out to end the game. Thought Perkins was going to come through big there. But nonetheless, let's get to July 1st before we think about, you know, and the Brewers obviously have some assets, but, you know, they got a long way to go. Again, the margin of error with this team, not very good. I just hope they're not going to go through one of these offensive slides here. That's painful to watch. We saw so much of that last year. And I really thought after earlier this season, when they were scoring 6, 7, 8 runs a game, not that I expected them to continue doing that, but I thought we'd see better offense out of these guys more consistent. Lately, in the last couple of weeks, save a couple of games, it's been a little brutal. But the offense, let's just chalk that up for one game and hope it's not going to continue. The hits, Sal Frelick with a big double in the ninth inning. Will Contreras had one hit, and the other hit was Ortiz with a base hit. Weimer did get into the game, played some left field, I see. And a lot of you guys are still asking about Weimer, when he's going to get sent down. I expect, obviously, when Yelich, whenever he gets activated, whenever that's going to happen, and they certainly could use him in the middle of this lineup, that Joey would likely get sent down. You know, Oliver Dunn has kind of come back down to life a little bit. You know, he's not even been playing third base after playing a lot there in the early part of the season. But Jake Bauers made the start at first base tonight, batted in the cleanup spot. Interesting. All right. We come back. We'll talk about Tuesday's game. Where do the Brewers go from here? Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Talking Brewers baseball with you. DoorDash. I love me some DoorDash. DoorDash is, man, when you didn't want to get up and get out of the house and get something delivered to you or go to the store, you get something delivered to you, 50% right now off DoorDash, 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 or more dollars on your next flour, convenience, grocery, or retail order now on DoorDash. It's the way to go. Mother's Day is coming up. Get something thoughtful for mom on DoorDash. Surprise her. Flowers, gift cards, self-treats, more. Make your day much, much better this Mother's Day. If you can't see her, do it with DoorDash. Flowers, candy, whatever, DoorDash. And take advantage of this great savings right here. Shop with savings that would make her proud. Again, 50% off your next order. Up to $15 when you spend $15 or more dollars on your next flour, convenience, grocery, or retail order now. You know, I've done that. I know people have done that too. Guy down the road here. You know, he was having a party. He didn't want to go to the store. It was cold outside. Ordered from the store. He got like a couple of bags of chips and some salsa and ordered from the deli. Brought it right to his place. And take advantage of this offer right now. $15 when you spend $15 or more dollars. You get 50% off, up to $15 from DoorDash. Big fan of DoorDash. We're coming right back after this here on Locked On Brewers. Welcome back to Locked On Brewers. Chuck Freeman, your host. Coming up, Brewers were a slight favored in the game on Tuesday, on Monday night. Freddie Peralta takes his 2-0 record to the hill. I did not see a betting line on the game. It's supposed to be a nice day in Milwaukee tomorrow. Likely the roof will be closed again. The roof has not been opened yet this year, although some people argued Saturday night, why wasn't the roof open at AmFam Field? It was 70 degrees outside, but there was a chance of rain in the area. It takes 20 minutes to close the roof. If there's rain in the area, they're never opening up the roof. There's never opening up the roof. And by the way, back to that controversial call earlier, and they didn't need replay to that, but Sunday's call with Aaron Judge, gotta be, why aren't judgment calls, why aren't those being reviewed? Like the Aaron Judge play where he stuck his hand up and deflected the ball? How come that's not reviewed? NFL, that would be reviewed. Let's get this reviewed in baseball. And I know that's one thing that, and I get it, some of you guys don't like reviews and instant replay because it just takes forever. And I feel like that they do take forever on these instant replay calls. But maybe they need to add these judgment calls on, well, like what happened with Judge coming up or on Sunday, just so they can get it right. Just so they can get it right. All right. So the Brewers with Freddie Peralta. Freddie had a tough outing last Thursday in Pittsburgh. He got bailed out, though, when Sanchez hit the 2-run home run in the 8th inning in Pittsburgh on Thursday. Freddie had a tough start. See if he can bounce back, because Freddie's been very good. That was his first bad outing of the season. Let's get one coming up on Tuesday. Get out of this funk. Forget that the Brewer, the umpires are not screwing us. Well, maybe Sunday, that was something else. But Monday's game, officials, umpires appear to have got it right. We'll be back here after the game coming up on Tuesday night, talking more with you, hopefully with a win. Brewers right now, I believe they're still in first place. Let me double check here. The Cubs moved in front by a half a game. Cubs won on a ninth inning home run against the Mets. So they're 18-11 right now. The Brewers are half a game out with their third straight loss. Talk to you tomorrow night, everybody, late night after the game here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. You get us on Google, Spotify, Apple, on all the major downloads. And, of course, go to YouTube, search Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That'll alert you every time we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Follow me on Twitter, Chuck Freeman, Freimund. Have yourself a great Tuesday, everybody.